Hello, and welcome to our Power of Product Data series, Episode 4, Stop Hiding Products in Your Taxonomies. I am Chantal Schweizer, Principal Taxonomist with Early Information Science, and joining me today is Jason Hein, our Director of Delivery. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing great, Chantal. I tell you, I'm super excited for another episode. Super excited to get another opportunity to talk taxonomy details with somebody who actually knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah, these are always fun things to talk about. We could go on forever about these things, but we will only limit it to 15 minutes for today. All right, so what are we talking about today? So we're talking about the junk drawer. So this usually doesn't exist from the beginning of a taxonomy. It is something that develops over time for categories that aren't very well managed, and these end up hiding products from customers. So we want to talk about what is this junk drawer, how does it negatively affect navigation, how does it happen, and then how can you avoid the junk drawer, or how can you strategically create a node that isn't very specific but can help your taxonomy. But first, if we could please take a poll, we would like to get to know you a little bit better. So where are you in your product data journey? Are you just getting started? You're laying out your options, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next, or do you have a plan ready to go? You have budget in place, you have resources roaring to get started, or are you somewhere in the middle? So if you could please take that poll, that could help us get to know you a little bit. So next up, what are taxonomy junk drawers? All right, so these are categories in your taxonomy that are unspecific. They're not very well managed. So when a customer sees them, they're not going to have a great idea of what is inside of it. So they're going to probably ignore it. It's a lot like your junk drawer at home. So I know in mine, there's all sorts of random stuff, you know, places. And that's kind of what you're going to find in these junk drawers. They're categories, they're different parts and one-off items or accessories. So how do you know you have a junk drawer? There's some red flags that you can see in the taxonomy labels. So if you see words like other or miscellaneous, more, additional, this can be a really good indicator. And another one could be just the products that you see inside. Like we talked about the stuff in my junk drawer, you know, you get a big hodgepodge of products where there's really no rhyme or reason to make them a logical grouping of products. Jason, what do you think about when you think about these junk drawers?
Yeah, one of the things when it comes to the category names themselves is you have to consider that you might actually be implying to your customers that you don't know anything about the products that are classified there. So in the example on the left here, you know, this is from an HVAC distributor of HVAC products. Any product, if I'm a customer and anything that I find in that other category, I'm already going to get the impression that, you know what, those SKUs aren't terribly important to this distributor, to this seller. Maybe they don't products that have been given named categories. Boy, you know what? I don't know that that's where I want to go. I want to buy this product from somebody who knows what they're talking about. So you might even be kind of discouraging users from going in and even seeing what's in there without knowing it.
Yeah, and really the word other, that can really open it up to all sorts of possibilities. There could be Nintendo in there. There could be water bottles. There could be back scratchers. Yeah, ketchup packets. Who knows? It's completely open to many possibilities. It's terrifying. And then if we look at this other example, we have more crystals and oscillators. But right above there, we have a category for crystals, and we have a category for oscillators.
Huh.
So
what in the world? What's more crystal than a crystal?
Exactly. What could possibly be in this category that is not in the previous categories? Well, let's dive in.
Let's take a look. I'm morbidly curious.
Oh, there we go.
Boy.
Yeah. So we have.
No, they're not crystals. They're not oscillator. I honestly don't even know what the second two are. There's a power inductor and then some random collections of what I call alphabet soup SKUs.
That's a great name.
But here's the thing, right? There's 360 products in this category, 15 pages of results. If I'm a customer, I'm a user, and I'm coming in and I'm seeing this, if these are the first three things that you're showing me under a category that is called more crystals and oscillators, and nothing that I'm being shown is a crystal or an oscillator, am I very motivated to go and explore what those other 357 SKUs are?
Yeah, very true. These products have now
Probably.
effectively become completely hidden from the buyer's shopping experience, because who's going to want to go through all of these?
Not me. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing to filter it down. There's just nothing here. Congratulations. We've taken 357 harmless products and we've hidden them in a box somewhere.
Yeah, but it is easy to see how these things happen. This is a very easy type of problem to develop over time. Let's dive in and see what causes these junk drawers, because they happen, and you have to find a way to better manage them.
Right. So when we're working with clients on taxonomy design, there's a couple of best practices we typically bring to the table. One is this concept of mutual exclusivity. So every product that you sell should have one place within your taxonomy where it belongs, where it fits, where it would be classified. And then by the same token, you need to make sure that you have a category in your taxonomy for everything that you sell. So it kind of goes back to the old mantra of, hey, a good taxonomy needs a place for everything and everything in its place. This is the foundational statement for data governance when it comes to a data model. So if I'm a seller of produce and I've got a taxonomy that has a supplier who wants to sell me bananas, what do? Well, if I'm following all the best practices, the first thing that I'm going to do when I get that banana is I'm going to create a category for bananas, right? A mutually exclusive category, and I'm going to include those banana SKUs in that node. So I've got a taxonomy that continues to follow those best practices. But this isn't what we usually see, especially with companies that are new and that are adding a lot of selection very quickly. Right, Chantal?
Oh, yeah, for sure. When we see a bunch of products being added on at once, it is really easy to add something like other fruits. And this can turn into a junk drawer if it's not managed. But it's the path of least resistance. It's the easiest thing to do. It's quick. You don't have to write all the rules and the definitions and the attributes that are required for it, because it's a very unspecific category. So it is very easy to create and easy to let yourself create this.
Yeah, when you've got a wave of new SKUs coming in, new product types, as much as we try when we're designing a taxonomy to account for everything, to create an inclusive taxonomy, usually when you start to get into the weeds of your selection, little surprises will come up. So you want to try to. Of course, go ahead.
And then if you have things like launch dates and like a delivery date, and all these different things that are looming ahead of you, and you want to try to make sure that you're ahead of it, then you might take a shortcut.
Right. And you create the other fruit, and you just start dropping stuff in there left and right, without really thinking about it, because you got to hit launch. But that is not the ideal. That is how junk drawers happen, because the node gets created, it's very broadly defined, and you start to see all this other kinds of products getting dropped in there, and the next thing you know, like ketchup packets are getting dropped into your other fruit category. And while, yes, botanically tomatoes are a fruit, I don't think that's where people are going to go to look for it. So, but there can be a middle ground here, right, to manage a deluge of selection while still maintaining control. And it's this concept that we talk about that's called an incubator category. So if I have my fruit selection. I've got my 3 categories. I've got 20 SKUs of citrus fruit, 35 SKUs of melon, apples, 29 SKUs. Like, those are the product lines that are really driving my business at this point. But then I get a new vendor coming on board, and they've got 1 SKU of pineapple, 1 SKU of pears, 1 SKU of bananas, and 1 SKU of broccoli. Okay, well, if I create 4 categories for these, then over half of my categories under fruit now are going to have only 1 SKU, and that's not a great customer experience either. So you can actually go through the process of creating what we call an incubator node, where you create a node for other fruit, but it's going to be very aggressively managed, which means that, first of all, broccoli doesn't go there because broccoli is not a fruit. So you still have some rules and guidelines about what can go in there, but you can now create a place to put the banana, the pear, and the pineapple to evaluate how that product type is going to impact your business. And you can create some rules around, at what point does a particular product type that's housed in that incubator node kind of graduate and get promoted up and out to give it its own node.
Very true. Yeah, the key really is management. Doing, as you said, make sure there's rules in place for graduation, and also reviewing these incubators from time to time to make sure that the products in there still belong there.
Right, and that means that there needs to be one person for every incubator node that you designate, one person who's responsible for that selection and for keeping it clean and keeping it from devolving into a junk drawer.
Very, very true. That RACI chart is extremely important to governance.
Right. So, all right, Chantal, like we got a whole audience who's super excited about this now. They're thinking that's new ways of thinking about their taxonomy design. What can they do with this?
All right. So first, you can take a look at your taxonomy and see if you have any junk drawers. Use those red flags that we had previously mentioned, like other miscellaneous, etc., and see if anything pops up. And then open them up, look at the products inside, and check out if they should be in a different category or if they truly are all have a singular purpose that should be there, and then maybe convert that category into an incubator node. And then if you don't have a taxonomy, build one that accounts for all of your products. Make sure that it is inclusive. But if you find the need for that incubator node, then definitely create one.
But regardless of your approach, once you have your newly refined taxonomy in place with a strategic deployment of incubator nodes, make sure that you are reviewing those nodes on a regular basis, right? It's really critical. It's very, very easy for an incubator node to become a junk drawer if it's not being well managed. So set a time to review. Is it once a year? Is it once every other year? To have the people responsible for those incubator nodes go in and revisit what's in there today. Are there misclassified SKUs? Are there product types that are significant enough now where they need to be promoted up and out? Have processes in place so that they know when they have to go back and look. But then finally, make a point of giving those folks some rules. Is it the number of SKUs of a particular product type that justify when it gets promoted? Is it sales dollars from those SKUs? How do you account for that? But that's critical. Don't make it a subjective decision. Have a set of established rules.
Very, very true. Rules and governance is so important to a continuing taxonomy to be successful. So we want to thank you very much for coming to this. So please join us for our next episode. We're going to dive into the power and peril of global attributes.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Agreed. It's going to be almost as exciting as me going into my kitchen right now and cleaning out my junk drawers, because now they're on my mind and now I got to do something about them.
Good luck to all of you in cleaning out your junk drawers.
Yes, indeed. Go forth. And thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.